Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Every Degree Matters. I'm your host Saffran Minhar. As you all know, we are living in a really a repetitive time. I would say we United States government militarily went and captured the Venezuelan leader Maduro. We also have President Trump talking about capturing or taking over or buying Greenland. We're going to talk about that. We also have a big coalition willing summit happening in Paris to make sure that Ukraine, excuse me, Ukraine comes to the sense of making peace with Russia. So all the European leaders are working together to make sure that's happening. We also had a great, what do you call, the US government is also working towards preventing another shutdown because the funding will end of this month in January 31st. So we don't want to get another shutdown. And also the government is also taking steps to make sure that people all eat healthy. So let's get to the show. Thank you everyone for joining for Every Degree Matters. Hope you all had a good, happy new year. It's been 2026, the year of horse. I always tell it'll be a great year. Let's first dive into one of the craziest things that has happened in the last week. A 2-hour mission that went in, took out Venezuelan leader Maduro. Well, his name is Nicolás Maduro, because he has been indicted in the New York State court for drug, for illegally, sending drugs to trafficking drug and narco-terrorism, for charges on trafficking drugs and federal charges on drug trafficking and narco-terrorism. But the good thing is the people in Venezuela are happy. In my take, I would say I think it's better than having a longer war. And I really like President Trump saying that one of the reasons that we also went there and is that to get the oil back, because we funded the oil infrastructure back in the days. I think we spent $15 billion before Suava took in power, or maybe before Maduro took in power. So the only company right now that exists in Venezuela is Chevron. They made the deal with Nicolás Maduro so before this whole thing happened. So now I think President Trump is saying that we are planning to go and invest. All the companies will invest. It obviously will take time. For interim period of time, they have included the vice president to be the president, and she has also agreed to send 50 million barrels of oil to United States until we fix everything over there. So they're gonna bring the oil here, and then we're gonna refine it in United States, so which will be costly for us. But it's more easy if they refine it over in Venezuela. But unfortunately, the infrastructure has been really impacted. Because of that, Trump wants to, for the time being, we will have it. And then they also want to have a general election sooner or later. But the plan is a little bit vague. They don't know what the day after is. So the United States is also don't know what they wanted to do. So they are floating around. Hope President Trump and the administration comes with a plan that will serve the people of Venezuela. At the same time, we all will have a lot of oil to United States, so that our economy booms. Plus, we also need a big energy requirement is there, since AI is taking up a lot of energy sources when we start building all the data centers in the US. So that's I don't know. A lot of people reacted in the left and right. Oh, he didn't get congressional approval. I mean, what? No president took any congressional approval when they went to Libya. I mean, President Obama never took anything. So I feel like it's just they're playing it's a double-edged sword. So people need to understand that. But it's politics. But also, I think President Trump did a great job. He went in there, took him out, and came back. Didn't waste a lot of time or resources, like spending $8 trillion in endless war, which I like about President Trump. Is that we went there, we took in, we came out, and also President Trump is honest about why did we do. Like he laid out, one, he has been indicted. Second, we also need the oil that we paid them to be built. I mean, our companies, our what do you call energy companies paid the infrastructure to be built. That also went from our tax dollars money, because all these energy companies get big subsidies from the tax dollars that we all pay. So you all have to understand that it's also like our money, you and me paying taxes, people in the United States that I'm talking about. So that's the key important thing you all have to understand. But it's also important for the president to also have some insight to tell the Congress. But again, you can also argue that what if the plan leaks, it puts the troops on jeopardy. So maybe that's why they didn't have. But congressional reaction and political debate saying that they all openly criticized about the Venezuelan strike. They're saying unauthorized military action. Come on, what did Obama do? Like, Hillary Clinton, how she was happy when they took out Gaddafi. And I'm like, wow, that's just so weird. That's wishful thinking. Like, when it's on their side, they don't talk anything. When it's on other side, it's like it's always like you're wrong. When someone's doing wrong, it's not wrong when you're doing it, but when someone else is doing it, then you point out it's wrong, and then it comes to a big authorization or constitutional crisis. It's just crazy how people react in terms of what to do and what not to do. And I think we have to give big credit to Secretary Rubio. He did a fantastic job he's one of the consequential Secretary of State, because he had to deal with a lot of things. And they're also now going to the other topic, is that taking over Greenland. That's just stupid. I mean, Greenland is part of Denmark. Denmark is part of NATO. So it might trigger Article 5 against United States, and it have already triggered it, where you can see a lot of European nations condemning United States for saying that, or also saying that we need to take it militarily over. So they're toning it down. I have seen Secretary Rubio saying that, it's just, all presidents have expressed their likeness to buy Greenland. So Greenland, and then it has happened. I mean, they never said that they wanted to take over militarily. They all past presidents, some of them have said that they wanted to take over or Greenland by in means like purchasing it. We offered $100 million back in the days, I think the 1940s or 50s. So they rejected it. Denmark said no. So now we already have a military presence in Greenland. So Greenland is like Puerto Rico for us, like it's a territory. So that's how it's considered, but it has its own autonomy, how it rules. So I think it's not going to happen. But President Trump floating his idea, but I don't think that will happen, because they are also like a NATO country. Plus, Denmark is part of the EU. So I don't think they will let that happen. So I think there will be a diplomatic crisis. It has been already happening. This is the problem, that when things like this you say, the administration says it, you also lose the global support, especially, the moral values, like what happened in Venezuela. So, well, yes, it's a good thing. Yes, we went and did it. But then also you can't also be the global cop, the global police. I don't know why we have to be, but some people want us to be the global police. I mean, the United States. It also questions us, like, what are we going to do? Like, how are we going to deal with if this happens, and what if we get isolated in global politics? What if we get sidelined? What if United States is no more recognized? On the outskirts, they might just, be nice with us because we are the largest economy in the world. But inside, what if the people of those countries started to, ignore us? I mean, that will be a big problem, putting on the people of the United States citizens in danger, because when you go to all these European countries, people might start to liking to hate us, or show some sort of disagreement because how our government reacts. So we need to consider that part. We don't want to isolate in global international space, because we are the leader of the free world. They call the United States president the leader of the free world. We have constitutional protection for freedom of speech. We have constitutional protections for a lot of other things in this country where there is none for other countries, for example. So that's why I believe that we need not to go too far in deep, especially buying Greenland. It will be stupidest idea. You can buy it. You can maybe offer, I don't know, $20 billion or $15 billion. That's a different story. But taking over Greenland is just the stupidest thing you would ever say. And also, floating that idea will also jeopardize as you all know, that United States is back on the international arena. We have, for the last 4 years, we never had a president. So that's the other key thing we need to understand. Like, we need to gain trust. We need to gain ally. We need to bring back all our partners together. So make sure that we also stand. They also value for what we stand, and which is the important thing. Then with that, we also wanted to talk about how the United States government right now is trying to prevent another shutdown. As you all know, the last shutdown happened due to the healthcare subsidies, which expired on the 1st of this month. 8 days ago. So now they're still fighting. They don't know what to do, and there is a bipartisan 3-bill funding package aimed to adverting a government shutdown scheduled for 30th of January. The Senate leaders expressed optimism, but lawmakers still need to pass 9 more appropriation bill to fulfill funding the government shutdown. A government shutdown would again spark another major stoppage in few months, and unless legislation progress accelerate, these issues underscore the ongoing partisan tension on the federal spending priorities in New Year. And also, the Trump administration have not yet come with a proper health care. So that's the other thing. Like, okay, healthcare bill. Like, what are we going to do? Like, what's the option? They said, okay, no more funding for Obamacare. And then like, okay, so what do we have? What do we got? Like, what's the option? So we don't know about that. There are still 9 more bills to be passed so far to make sure the government doesn't shut down. But there is no progress on healthcare subsidies. They're saying they want to give the money back to the people to decide. I don't know what that meant by. So let's see how it all evolves. We all have to understand now the economy is coming back, as we got a good sign that we had a good start since we got the oil from Venezuela. Basically it's free oil for a fraction of a cost. Plus, when we have a lot of oil in the cycle of economy, eventually a lot of things goes up and the economy booms and the prices will go down. Doesn't, but it has to go down. Another thing is that the other day I was having a conversation with one of my friends saying that how the tariff is impacting you and me. The tariff doesn't impact anyone else. Like we last on the Q3 we said that the economy has grown for 4.3%. It does mean people have paid in more money to the government, because China is not going to pay for the tariff. The buyer he's not going to pay for the tariff that buys stuff from China. The consumers are the people who are going to pay for the tariff. So let's say, for example, if I am a buyer that I buy let's say a pencil from China, and then if it costs $1, now if the tariff is 25%, it will cost me $1.25. So I'm going to charge the customer if I'm charging $2, I'm going to charge $2.25. So that's how it will work, because I need to still make the same profit, not make the same lose money. So I'm going to increase the price. At the end of the day, the consumers will be impacted. So the tariff issues, and then some people are saying, oh, it's good for the companies. Yeah, it's all good for the big stakeholder companies. That's going to make a lot of money, and they will be having a lot of good sales in other countries. At the same time, the shareholders are going to be the people who are making money, and then they will eventually pay in tax. But then when you pay in tax, the government does not give like a paycheck to what do you call to do something good. We don't give out paycheck to say, okay, you know what, every year we will divide all the tariff money and give it back to the citizen. They don't do that. They said that they wanted to take out the income tax. Hopefully they can do that. But eventually that what will happen is that the burden will come to the consumers. People don't understand. People will not be able to save. That's why we have an affordability crisis at the very high, because when you increase the tariff, we pay. So people don't understand. People need to understand basic economics on that part. And then we also have our government, in any past president, including Trump, Biden, Obama, they always overspend. They spend beyond our means. That means if we make $8 trillion, we spend $10 trillion. So that's the ridiculous thing that what we have been doing in the past, I don't know, 50 years, that led to a $38 trillion of debt. Ridiculously crazy. Anyway, so that, when I talk about it, it just messes me up. But it's just how you all have to understand that. The whole tariff thing, I was fan of it, but then again I realized I got to learn a lot of things. Then I realized that it's the burden comes to us, you and me. It's not the elite. People who already have money, they will not, will be impacted by this, right? At the same time, this is a country where you can make money. I'm not saying that it's, anyone can become rich here. You all have to, work hard, get out of your comfort zone. Being comfortable will not make you money. But at the same time, you all have to understand that, there are a lot of people, are being impacted because of this tariff, which doesn't make any sense, because the tariff will eventually be going as a burden to the people and the consumers. That's us. So we also had a unfortunate situation in Minneapolis last week. One of the ICE officers shot down a civilian, I believe, and because a Minneapolis Hilton canceled federal reservation for enforcement. That happened. We also had a shooting of an ICE officer, of a suspect by an ICE officer. That's so crazy. And also the people who the ICE officers that tried to stay in Hilton Hotel in Minneapolis was not allowed to stay, and they canceled the reservation. That's stupid, guys. You all have to come on, don't do that. They're just doing their job, like you and me. So don't be naive on that part. We also had the CBP, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, dissolving itself after funding cuts. They were funded. It's a non-profit that was there for 60 years. Funded NPR, PBS, and 15 local media stations. Officially voted to dissolve itself on January 5th. After losing federal congressional Republicans cut more than $1.1 billion in funding. I don't think we need to have state-funded media. I think every media should be independent. I also saw CBS coming up and saying, "Oh, we're going to try to finally vote, say the news, not bipartisan. They don't want, they want to share the news as news, not give their opinion, or have all this disagreement or point out, oh, Trump is bad or the Democrats bad. They don't want to sideline with parties after like 5 years. And I think they are losing because the media, like you and me, the podcasting world, the YouTube world has taken over, and the trust in legacy media has been at the lowest in the history of this country. So that's why I think they wanted to gain back the trust, but I don't think it's going to happen. But let's see. President Trump also says there will be a lot of fraud investigation happening in California, in my state. I mean, it's crazy. As much as I don't want to happen, I think it says there are $74 billion on fraud and funding allegedly. It can be also more. After the right-wing media, after Nick Shirley's video went exploded, and what happened on that aspect was that Tim Walz has finally said that he's not going to run for re-election. That clown he's crazy. He is. I mean, I always pray, thank God he didn't become the vice president. Just imagine how, guys, it will be the pathetic 8 years of our time. Worse than Senator Kamala Harris. So Vice President Kamala Harris. Oh God, it will be a disaster. They are also, I think, going to investigate. They are claiming that California has there's a lot of fraud investigation that has happened. They're thinking the estimate is going to be like $74 billion, and they're saying after a massive Minnesota childcare fraud scandal, the Trump administration signaled a broader federal crackdown on misuse of public funding, which has to happen. And they also aim that California is also under scrutiny, calling it more corrupt than Minnesota, though no formal federal indictment has happened. So, Trump is just being Trump and saying that. I don't know what's going to happen. I think you all have to be cognizant of how the public funding is using. It's my tax money and your tax money, which is really important for us to, be careful of spending every penny. If it is going for the people that are needed, yes, but not like what happened in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, and then eventually it will be a big disaster for Newsom if this comes out, because he's planning to run for the office. So if he is planning to run for office, then he has to be very careful. Hopefully, before Trump comes in, Newsom gets in and try to make sure there is no fraud and wasteful spending. We also had a congressman died. Douglas La Mafia died at 65 years old due to a medical. He was a Republican from California, congressman. He died at the age of 64. He's from the 1st district in the House since 2013. And rest in peace his soul. We also had, this is crazy, we also had Marjorie Taylor Greene leaving office yesterday. Not yesterday, 6th of January. She will no longer be a congresswoman. I think she wants to go and focus on her life. I don't know what she's going to next. And then we also have football news that the John Harbaugh out as the Baltimore Ravens head coach after 18 seasons. He's finally out, and he has been fired. They say he parted away with the team after disappointing 2025 season for the Ravens, which went 8-9 and missed the playoff. The decision announces that and the 6th ending one of the longest coaching. So he was apparently, John Harbaugh was the longest serving NFL coach for 18 seasons, basically 18 years. That's a good way to end the season. Hopefully the Ravens, where is the Ravens? I think it's from Baltimore. Yeah, they moved to Baltimore. So finally, what do you call yep, it's a team in Maryland. It's a team from, so it's a football team. So the coach is fired, and I think the new coach will be soon announced. So John Harbaugh was fired, and they will find a new coach for the Ravens. Oh, that's a long, good season, 18 years. And let's see what happens with them. We also have the playoffs happening, I think, next month. see this week. So the NFL playoffs. Let's see. Okay. So the playoffs will happen on 10th. So that's in 2 days. We will have 49ers will play the Eagles. This is the wild card. So it's going to be the wild card that's happening. Well, that's the playoff, they say. So first game will be Rams versus the Panthers on the 10th. And then we have the Packers versus the Bears on the 10th. Then we have the Bills versus the Jaguars. Then we also have the 49ers versus the Eagles. We have the Chargers versus the Patriots. And the Texans versus the Steelers. Texans versus the Steelers. So whoever wins goes to the divisional round, which will then decide who is going for a conference round, and then that will lead to the Super Bowl, which we are hoping my team 49ers win, because it's happening in San Francisco at Levi Stadium. I think so. 49, I think so. 49ers. Let's see. 49ers Stadium. I think so. Yeah, at the Levi Stadium. So, hopefully, we win the Super Bowl. Alright, guys. So, the next other topic that I want to move is to some international news. We have the Israeli foreign minister visiting the Somaliland. Israel was the first country to recognize the Somaliland and have an embassy be open. So that's going to be interesting to see where that goes in, because Somaliland is within Ethiopia, and it's so crazy that close to Ethiopia, so crazy that the Arab countries haven't recognized them. So that's going to be interesting to talk about. We also had a big coalition willing summit. President Macron trying to host a major summit in Paris with global leaders and allies to coordinate security guarantees for Ukraine as part of the huge peace deal. And I think President's envoy Jared Kushner and Witkoff were also there at the attending that meeting. But 27 countries took part. It's going to be interesting to see. They all wanted to stop this stupid war that's been going for ages. I mean, it sounded like 3 years, which is crazy. So hopefully all these people can bring this to an end. That's the key important aspect of it. So let's pray and hope that we all get to this bottom line and find peace, because peace is the most important thing. Plus, look at Ukraine destroyed. So anyways, guys, so with that, thank you for joining. Like, subscribe, share this podcast, and I hope the 2026 we went to a big of hope we don't end up in another makeover of 2003, but let's hope that we all succeed, have some good goals. I saw a lot of people at the gym, coming to the gym, and the key thing is keep continuing to come, keep continuing to work out and stay healthy. We also had the one other thing that I was wanted to go and talk about is that every 5 years the administration, any administration, releases a dietary plan. This year it was amazing. They had a good health dietary plan for the next 5 years. Hopefully all these people will take it into consideration and start eating healthier. Let's make America healthy. I love that whole what Secretary Kennedy is doing in terms of trying to bring healthy foods for you and me and our children, which is the most important thing. So with that, thank you guys. Have a nice weekend ahead of you. And until then, next time, this is your host, Saffran Minhar of Every Degree Matters.